Hi, I'm Jan with Academic Technologies, and welcome to our Intro to Google Drive video. CNU has provided a G Suite for Education account for all of its faculty members. This account, which is already linked to your university email, includes access to Google Drive, an online storage location where you can keep and organize all of your documents. Using Google Drive will let you locate and access your documents from any computer or device with internet access, even your phone. Google Drive also includes unlimited storage space, and it secures all of your data safely, meaning you don't have to worry about losing access or having your files stolen. In this video, we'll introduce you to the basics of setting up and organizing your Google Drive, as well as uploading and accessing your documents and files. And we'll also touch on how you can share files that you've stored in your drive. If you have any questions throughout this video, please feel free to reach out to me at jana.docherty@cnu.edu. We'll start by covering how to access your Google Drive through a web browser. To open Google Drive, you can open any web browser and go to drive.google.com. We recommend using Chrome for this, as the Chrome web browser is designed with compatibility with Google applications in mind. You can also access Google Drive from your email by opening up the square icon on the upper right-hand side of the screen. If you open that icon, you can see Drive, and clicking on it will open your drive in a separate tab on your browser. Finally, because your drive is linked to your CNU account, the CNU Connect main page also provides a link that will lead directly to your drive. When logged into CNU Connect, just click Drive on the upper left-hand side of your screen, and that will also open up a separate tab containing your drive. When you first open Google Drive, you should see a relatively empty space. No files, no folders. And this is labeled My Drive. You will also see a button on the top left labeled New. This button allows you to create a number of different types of documents and files directly within Google Drive. It can also create empty file folders, which we'll be focusing on first. To create a folder, click the New button, then select Folder at the top of the resulting drop-down. This will create a blank folder in your drive, which can then be named based on whatever organizing scheme you choose to use. Let's name this folder after a hypothetical class of ours as an example. Biology 101. Click Create, and the empty folder will appear on your drive. You can enter into any folder you create by double-clicking on it. When you enter folders, you can see the path you took from the main drive to your current location at the top of the screen. In this case, we can see that we went from My Drive to inside my Biology 101 folders. You can also create folders within folders, as seen here. Just going through the same process. We'll call this Week 1. And this folder within a folder system will help you continue organizing content from inside a folder. As always, you'll see the path that you took from any of your folders to your main drive. This path can also be clicked on in order to jump back to a certain point in your drive. For example, if we wanted to go back to the Biology 101 folder from inside the Week 1 folder. Click on Biology 101, and we're back in that folder and out of the Week 1 folder. We recommend that you start your use of Google Drive by creating a system of folders before making or uploading any files to your drive. This will allow you to organize your files into groups or categories, very similar to how they are already stored on your computer. Once you have created your organizational system, you can start adding documents to your Google Drive. We'll start with documents that you may already have and want to upload onto Google Drive. There are two ways that you can upload files to your drive. The first method is by using the New button again. this time selecting the File Upload button on the menu. This will open a window where you can navigate through various files on your computer and select the files that you wish to upload. In this case, I'll select a PDF and click Open. And I can see the upload's progress down on the bottom right-hand side. It uploaded pretty quickly, so it already says it's complete. The second method, however, is a simple drag and drop. If you have a File Explorer window open on your computer, in our case, we have one right here, you can click and drag a file over to the drive in your browser. I'll grab this PowerPoint and drag it into your drive. And again, uploads pretty quickly, because once you drop that file into your drive, the upload will automatically begin. This method is especially useful if you wish to upload multiple files at a time. For example, if I wanted to select multiple PowerPoints and click and drag them over, I'll see the progress of all of my files listed again in that window on the bottom right-hand side. One thing to note is that with both methods of adding files, the files will upload into whatever portion of the drive you happen to be in at the time. For example, if I am inside my Biology 101 folder and I perform the drag and drop method, that file will upload into that folder directly. However, it is possible to move or copy files between folders. If, for example, a document stored in my Biology 101 folder needs to be sorted further into my Week 1 folder. If a user wants to copy a file, the process is only a few clicks. Start by right-clicking on the item you wish to copy. This will bring up a drop-down menu with a number of options. One of these options is to make a copy, which will make a brand new copy of the file in the same location as the original. If you wish to move a file into a different location, such as a different folder, our Week 1 folder, you can click and drag to essentially pick up the file, then drop the file into the desired folder. And if we go into our Week 1 folder, we can now see that that file is inside. Next, let's talk about sharing. On occasion, you may need to share a file or a folder with a batch of files with another faculty member or a student, or even with someone from outside the university. Let's share this PDF as an example of how this can be done. If you right-click on your file to open that drop-down menu we saw earlier, you can also see the option to share, marked by this icon of a little person and a plus sign. If you click this option, it will open a window allowing you to select your sharing settings. The first thing you'll see is a field where you can enter in the names or email addresses of people you would like to share the file with. This is especially effective for sharing with individuals within our G Suite for Education network. For example, if I want to share with my fellow faculty member, I can put in his name or his email address. You'll also see a drop-down menu allowing you to limit the access to this document. For example, if you want your other faculty members to only be able to view your document without editing capability, you can select Can View. Or you can allow them to create comments without editing the actual document itself, or give them full editing capability. You can also add a note that will send to the person you're sharing with, perhaps if you need to send a reminder about what this document is for. If you want to share a document or folder with a large number of people, you can also get a shareable link rather than typing all their names and addresses into this little field. To get that link, simply click Get Shareable Link at the top right, and the window will change slightly, adding an additional field with a link that can be copied and pasted. There's even a button that will let you copy the link. From here, the default is that anyone in our CNU network will be able to access the document. There's another drop-down menu here, again allowing you to choose the level of access that this link provides, ranging from just viewing, commenting, and even full edit access. Finally, you can also use this window to create links to users who are outside of the CNU network. For example, if you need to share a file with someone who works at another university. To do so, select Advanced at the bottom of this little pop-up to open up Advanced Sharing Settings. This will further expand our link sharing area and remove the drop-down to Accessibility in favor of a Change link. Click on that link and you'll find the drop-down here. Right here near the bottom. Looks a little different, but it's the same. You'll also see a list of options that controls how easy it is for another user to use the link you're copying to access the document. For privacy reasons, we recommend that users stick to the options that require the link to find the document, rather than making it public. We also recommend that faculty stick to using options within the CNU network, such as on without the link or on with the link, unless you specifically have to share a file with someone outside of the CNU network. For example, sharing it to anyone with the link. Once you click Save, it'll save those settings and let you copy the link, which you can then provide to anyone that you wish to have access to that document. The last thing I would like to note is a neat little visual that can allow you to tell at a glance whether or not a folder has been shared with someone else. If a folder in your drive is a blank gray folder, like the one we made, this folder is only in your drive and no one else can see or access it because it hasn't been shared. However, if we share that folder with another person, using the same method that we used before, I'll just share it here. Then that folder will be marked with an icon that indicates a little person. A folder marked this way has all the files in it accessible to the person you shared the folder with. In addition, any new files added to the folder will be accessible to those people. For example, if I add a new file into the folder, because it's added directly into the folder that's shared with another person, that file will be accessible to them as well. These are the basic tools of Google Drive, designed to help you start storing and sharing files easily. While there are many other tools that can be utilized for further organization and customization, these tools will let you make the most of the first utility of Google Drive, the ability to access your files from anywhere, anytime. Thank you for watching this video to help you get started. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me at jana.docherty@cnu.edu. Bye!